Hello friends, my name is Marina and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. Today we are going to be doing episode 3 of Rapunzel Rambles, which is my previously quarterly, now maybe monthly update on all of my projects, knitting, spinning, some crochet, etc. All my fiber arts projects, we'll put it that way. So I've been pretty busy this last month of July. For one thing, I have a finished object, which you might see on me right now. And in addition, I did a whole buttload of spinning for the event of Tour de Fleece. If you're interested in learning more about that and all of the spinning I got up to, I did vlog most of that process and then did a recap for the first week, because I wasn't vlogging at that point, but if you want to check that out, I will link it up in the cards for you. So there's lots of spinning updates, including some finished yarns and a couple knitting whips as well. So let's get right into it. First of all, like I mentioned, I am wearing a finished object. This is the Calypso Camisole by Perfectly Knotted. You see it has cute little bows on the shoulders. And this was a really fun test knit that I did for Claire Jackson of Perfectly Knotted. She was great to work with, very communicative, and all around a fun process. I did have to completely frog this, like, almost finished project mid-June, which I might have mentioned in my previous Rapunzel Rambles episode, so feel free to check that out. Also linked in the cards, but I'm very happy with it. I think it's really cute. I'll stand up so you can see a little more of it, but it's just a little cropped camisole. Like I said, it has cute little bows on the shoulders. It's pretty well fitted. It's kind of a made-to-measure pattern. You do a lot of math to make it work for your body, which I thought was a really good technique to use. And like I said, my original swatch may have lied to me because the first iteration of this was too big, but upon trying that on and realizing that, I was able to frog it, start over, and get it all finished before the deadline. This pattern is currently out, so if you are interested, it is available. I will link all that information down in the description box below. I used a yarn called You So Sporty, E-W-E, not Y-O-U, by the brand UU, also E-W-E. And I got that yarn in a trade with a friend, which was great because I found out I didn't have any commercial sport weight yarn in my stash, and all of my hand-spun sport weight wasn't quite what I wanted for a camisole pattern. Because it's next to skin, a lot of what I had was a little bit crunchier than I would necessarily want hugging my body like this. So this is a superwash merino yarn, which worked out really well, is very comfortable, and all around turned out great. I'm really happy with this garment. I've been wearing it practically non-stop. Should probably wash it soon because it's definitely seen some wear, but I'm in love with it. I really, really like this pattern. Would definitely recommend it, as well as other patterns by Claire Jackson. She is a prolific and accomplished designer, and I think it really shows in her patterns, at least from what I've seen. So that is my one finished object for the last month. I've also been doing lots of knitting, so let's get into some spinning finished objects, because I have a whole bunch of those too that I'd love to share with you. So first of all, for finished whips, we have this dual skein set. This was a really fun project that I did. It's called a 3-ply 2 ways. So one of the yarns is a chain ply, which is this one. You can see the colors are pretty separated compared to this one where they're a little more blended together. And then this one is a true 3-ply. So I've spun 3 singles, plied them together, whereas with this chain plied version, I spun 1 single and then did a chain ply process to finish the yarn. These yarns are fully finished. I have about 400 yards total, about half and half, not quite, but pretty close. And my plan for this is to knit up some striped socks. I think they're going to be very interesting because we've got the same yarn base, just processed and spun in different ways, or plied in different ways. They were spun the same way. And I just think that's going to be a really interesting kind of case study of yarn. I think it's going to work up really pretty, really squishy, and really lovely. So I'm excited for that. And this yarn was dyed, or the fiber was dyed by Classy Squid Fiber Company, who no longer dyes, but made lots of pretty things in her time. And the colorway is called Wibbly-Wobbly, which is a Doctor Who reference, which I think is why I originally bought it. Plus those dark jewel tone colors just make me happy. So I'm really pleased with this. I'm excited to cast on a set of socks with them. It worked up to a really good weight for socks. I think this will be, it's about a fingering weight, so we'll do some swatching on different needle sizes and see what works, but I think it's going to be really, really nice. And then I also wanted to mention the fiber blend because it's kind of a unique fiber blend. The dyer, I think, got this fiber milled specifically for her because it's not a blend I've seen previously or since. It's a Polwarth, Corriedale, Faux Cashmere, and and bamboo blend. And it's called her Classy Sock Base. Although, again, this dyer is no longer dyeing. So, in addition to that dyed yarn that I spun and plied, well, finished in the month of July, I also made really good progress during Tour de Fleece with a big project that I was spinning. And that was this, which is a 3-ply. 2 of the plies are a white Corriedale, and the last ply is a black Corriedale cross, all of which I got milled from fleeces by Alchemy Fiber Mill in East Hampton, Massachusetts. I'm really delighted with this. I have so much of it. Hold on, I'll show you. So there's 2 bags and an additional 4 skeins is all that I created. Not all of this was spun during Tour de Fleece. Much of it was spun prior to Tour de Fleece because I've been working on spinning this white Corriedale since mid-2024 when I got it milled originally. This was a huge project. It was just enormous. It took me so long, but I did most of the black spinning since Tour de Fleece and during Tour de Fleece. The 2 bags are finished yarn, so they've been washed and counted. It's about 3,000 finished yards. And then since Tour de Fleece ended, it's currently August 13th, so this is a little bit late and a little bit overflowy into August, but I hope you don't mind. I plied these 4 skeins. I also spun the black singles since Tour de Fleece because I did a ton of spinning and plying during Tour de Fleece, but there was still some more plying that I had to get done, and also needed to spin more of the black Corriedale to go with the white that I had previously finished. So I expect I have about 4,000 yards of this. My plan moving forward is not to keep it as a barber pulled black and white, but to actually have a friend of mine, Lauren over at Valkyrie Fibers, overdye this yarn for me. I'm thinking purples, maybe some blue in there too, because those are my favorite colors. And I'm planning on knitting up a traveler's hoodie, or traveler hoodie. I'll link it down in the description below as well, but it's a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It's a really interesting knit and purl alternating row pattern. So you knit like 2 or 3 rows and then purl a row. I forget the details because I haven't knit it yet. I started knitting it in a Romney cross hand spun, but it was way too thick. So I think this will work better because it's supposed to be a sport weight yarn for the pattern. And this is around a sport weight, I would say. So I'm hopeful that that works out with the pattern, but I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to see how Lauren dyes this. She's a super accomplished dyer and I really like her work. So I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous when she's got her hands on it. So I need to finish washing and finishing these 4 skeins and then pack up a huge box of yarn for her and send it off because she's over on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast. And then have some glorious, gorgeous finished yarn to work with. I will definitely have enough for the pattern, even though I'm tall, so I'm going to need additional yardage than what is estimated by the designer. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be really cute, and I'm looking forward to knitting that once I get a couple more projects off my needles. Moving right along into knit whips, I have a couple I want to show you today. The first of which is actually another test knit for Claire Jackson of Perfectly Knotted. I will get this out of the bag to show you. I've been working on this since June, I think. I didn't share it in the Q2 video because there just wasn't a ton done on it, but I have this like striped crew neck sweater that I'm working on. I'll hold it up in front of me too so you can really see it because that wasn't the best angle. Come on. So as you can see, I've got two yarns striped together. These are both Madelinetosh DK yarns, which I had bought like a decade ago at this point and didn't have enough individually to do a sweater with, so I decided to do a stripy sweater with both of them, and I should have plenty of yarn to do that. So this is called the Campus Crew, again by Perfectly Knotted. It's another test knit that I'm working on, and I have only just joined in the round. You can see I've only got maybe half an inch right here, maybe less, but it's coming along pretty well. I really like the yarns that I picked for this. I think they look really good together. They actually look very similar to the yarns I'm using in my other knit whip that I'm about to show you, but I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really cute. I think it's going to be super cozy and just all around a really fun knitting project to have finished and off the needles at some point soon. I have until mid-October to finish this one, and I think I will. It was pretty slow going in the month of July between Tour de Fleece and finishing up my previously mentioned Calypso Camisole, but I think now that I'm joined in the round, it's going to go a lot faster. I also had to frog parts of this a couple of times because, like, I accidentally got a twist in the front section at one point. I did the increases wrong for this under the arm kind of side section. I got the increases wrong and it looked sloppy, so I frogged and redid that. So it's been slow going, but I'm really hopeful that now that I'm joined in the round, I can really pick up the pace, get moving, and make really good progress on this in the next couple of months until it's due. Like I said, I really like the yarn. The yarn colors are, the dark blue is called Odyssey, and the gray with speckles is called Space Epic. So I've been calling this my Space Odyssey sweater. You can see there's a lot of really fun speckles in there with the gray yarn. There's like blue and purple and a little bit of pink and a little bit of orange. And I really like it. I think it's going to be so cute. And I just decided I'm not going to do bust shaping. What's it called? Short rows. I'm not going to do short row bust shaping because I saw somebody else's project, and although it looked gorgeous with the short row shaping, I just thought the width of the stripes being a little different didn't really vibe with me. So I decided to omit that. So I might do some waist shaping, we'll have to wait and see, but it depends on how this is fitting when I get a couple more rows done and can really try it on. The back also has short row shaping. You can probably see this blue section has like increases along the sides. and that was from some short row shaping right when we cast on the upper back, and I think that looks really nice and is going to fall well on my shoulders. I did a slight modification on this pattern, partially because my row gauge is off, so to make sure that my row gauge is consistent, or my stripe length is consistent, I did a swatch in the round and a swatch flat, and determined that I have to do slightly different row lengths than the pattern or row counts per stripe than the pattern calls for. So that meant that I had to increase, like do a couple extra rows in the front right here on either side of the neck hole before I joined the front section flat. So that was a little bit wonky and required some frogging again, but like I said, it should be all set now, so I can keep progressing in the round and hopefully get this cranked out pretty speedily, because I would like to make good progress on it. So I've been enjoying this project. I think it's going to be really cute. I love the colors. As you'll see in a second, my other whip has very similar colors, but that is the Campus Crew by Perfectly Knotted. All right, so it's honestly very funny to me that I cast on that second project when I had this going on, which is a blue and gray marled pattern. I have one strand of this blue speckled, or not speckled, blue sparkly yarn, which is like a mohair, and I'm holding that along with a light gray. Hang on, I'll grab the yarns out so I can show you what they look like individually. So this is the very sparkly mohair blend yarn. It's mohair, nylon, merino, and polyester. It's a Rowan yarn, Rowan Patina, and this was so pretty when I saw it. I knew I had to make something with it. I had set it aside for a little bit and then decided that it would be a Love Note sweater by Tin Can Knits. And then I'm holding it alongside this gray, which is a wool or merino. Hang on, let me grab a label because I'm not positive what's in there. All right, so this yarn is called Valley Yarns Charlemont, which is one of the Web's yarn lines that they have developed for just the store Webs. It is a superwash merino wool, mulberry silk, and polyamide blend, and it's a fingering weight kind of sock yarn blend. So I'm holding these two together, and it's working up like this. So like I said, this is a pattern by Tin Can Knits called Love Note. You can see the kind of heart-shaped lace yoke section, and this is coming along pretty well. It's getting there before I have to add sleeves. I think maybe 1 or 2 more balls of yarn for the body, and then it'll be ready for sleeves. And then I have to knit the neckline a little bit tighter. It's got a provisional cast on, which is why there's orange yarn attached there, to make it a little bit snugger. Maybe not very snug, because I don't like stuff close to my neck, but a little bit snugger. And I'm really liking this. It's kind of my I need something easy to work on project, because right now it's just stockinette in the round with no shaping. So that's what it's been used for. I made a little bit of progress on this last month, but not a ton. But it's coming along. It just needs a little more time invested into it. But again, I think it's really funny that I have 2 blue and gray sweaters on the needles right now that are my main whips. I think that's very, very silly of me, but they're colors that I really love, so I guess that's a good thing that I will have blue and gray sweaters in my wardrobe that I can throw on and really love. I originally cast this on close to New Year's Eve because it was my New Year's Eve knitting project. I cast it on a few days earlier so that I wouldn't be trying to cast on New Year's Eve, but This is, you know, 6-ish months of knitting on and off, and it's slow going, but it's coming along, so I'm happy about that. Now we can move along to some spinning works in progress, the first of which I was also working on during the Tour de Fleece, and I have finished the first half of this spin. This is called Ground Dweller by Hello Yarn. It was a March 2019? Yeah, March 2019 club colorway. So she has a yarn club that she ships once a month, or a fiber club that she ships once a month, and they're all different bases, and, well, not all, but she cycles through a bunch of different bases. I haven't been part of this club since 2019 because I have lots of it, because I can't spin as quick as she was shipping out fiber, but I pulled this out of my stash to have something a little bit colorful while I was working on that black and white Tour de Fleece project and wanted a little bit more color in my life after I finished the Wibbly-Wobbly spin. So this is Ground Dweller. It looks like it's just red and orange, but there's also some gray underneath, which you can't really see, but I'll show you the fiber in a sec. So this was the first one that I spun. I divided the braid in half lengthwise, so like 2 long strips that, like, I didn't pull them apart, I stripped them. So that was the first one. And then the second one, I haven't started spinning yet, but I went through and divided them into 8 long strips, again, stripping them, not breaking the fiber in half, but stripping them. And my plan is to do a fractal style spin with these, so I'll spin all 8 of these little nests up in a row and then ply it with the other braid that's already spun. As you can see, there's a little bit of brown and gray in addition to those reds and oranges, so it's a really nice kind of fall neutrally colorway. So I've been working on spinning that up, and it's going really well. I love my Acreworks bobbins. They're 3D printed bobbins that you can get printed in pretty much any color, and they're my favorites to work with bobbin-wise. So yeah, that's my first spinning whip that I've been working on. It's probably going to work up to about a DK weight, but we'll have to wait and see because it's hard to say until they're really plied and washed exactly what weight they're going to work up to be. And I have 8 ounces total, so this was a 4-ounce bobbin. And then I've got an additional 4 ounces yet to be spun. And then in addition to that, I've also been spinning this, which is a 19.5 micron merino base with some superwash merino and nylon yarn scraps. This was dyed and carded by my friend Lauren over at Valkyrie Fibers, who I've already mentioned in this video because she's going to be dyeing my black and white yarn for me. It's called Fire Across the Galaxy, which is a Star Wars based colorway. She used scraps from her from her Sabine Wren colorways, and cut up, or had like yarn scraps left over, carded them up with some gray wool, and that gives us this fiber and this yarn. So you can see the little bits of yarn sticking out, making a little tweedy effect in with the gray base. And I also have about 4 ounces of this. I've been working up the first half, and then I'll spin the second half onto a second bobbin and then ply those 2 together. But I've been enjoying this. I did run it through my drum carder an additional, I think just 1 time, because she made it on a blending board, so the fibers weren't super well integrated, and I wanted to try to break up the yarn scraps a little bit more. So I ran this through my drum carder, I believe just 1 time, to kind of blend the layers together, because she had kind of stacked layers of fiber, and like no shade to her, I love Lauren, I just wanted it a little bit better combined. So I did that myself, and have been working my way through it. Oops, it's trying to fall. I've been working my way through it and have been enjoying those little pops of green and blue and purple color in there because green and blue and purple are my favorites. They're mermaid colors and I am like 95% mermaid, minus the tail. I'm a mermaid. So that is my second spinning whip that I've been working away on, and I think, is there anything else? I think that's it. So that's what I've been working on, mostly in the month of July, and then a little bit of bleed over into August because, like I said, it's August 13th, and I've been busy but didn't quite manage to wrap up a video for you at the very beginning of August, so here we are almost halfway through August with another update video, but that's fine. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to my channel so that I know you liked it and also so you don't miss anything in the future. I will link all of these different projects information down below so that you can read through it if you are so inclined, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Take care, friends. Have a great rest of your day. Do some fun crafting, and I will see you again soon. Bye!